If your Social Security check arrives every month and it still does not feel like enough, you are not imagining it, and you are not alone. There's a specific reason this happens, and once you understand it, you can actually do something about it. In today's video, I want to walk you through three things: the psychology, why this feeling exists even when the numbers say you should be okay; the income floor, one specific number that tells you when your retirement income is actually enough; and the third thing, the one most people never calculate, which I think is going to change how you look at your situation. Stay with me for that third one. Let's take a look. Part 1. The real reason. Let me start with the psychology, because I think this is actually the most important part. Most people assume that if retirement income feels tight, the problem is simple. You just do not have enough money coming in. And sometimes that is true. But here's what surprises a lot of people. There are retirees all across the country who, by any reasonable measure, have enough. Their Social Security covers their basic needs, they have some savings, they're not in debt. And yet, the feeling of not having enough does not go away. They check their account balance before buying groceries, they hesitate before turning the heat up, they feel guilty spending money on anything that is not strictly necessary. Does any of that sound familiar? If it does, there is a name for what you are experiencing, and it is not a character flaw. It is not poor planning. It is a documented psychological response called cognitive scarcity. Cognitive scarcity simply means this: when your brain has been in a state of financial concern for a long time, months, years, even decades, it does not automatically reset when your financial situation improves. The worry becomes a habit, a pattern, and your brain keeps running that pattern even when the numbers no longer justify it. Let me give you a real example of what this looks like. Take someone like Barbara. She's 69 years old, lives in Arizona. Her Social Security check is $1,940 a month. Her rent is $900. Her other bills, utilities, food, insurance, about $700. That leaves her roughly $340 every month. By most standards, Barbara is managing. She's not in crisis. But Barbara has not taken a day trip in 2 years. She hasn't been to the dentist because it feels like an extravagance. She lies awake some nights running numbers in her head. Barbara does not have a money problem. Barbara has a cognitive scarcity problem, and the solution is different from what most people think. Part 2. The science. Now, I want to go one level deeper on the psychology here, because I think understanding why this happens makes it easier to address. Research from Princeton University, and this has been replicated in multiple studies since, found that people who experience financial stress over a long period of time actually have reduced cognitive bandwidth. What that means in plain language is this: financial worry takes up mental space, constantly running calculations in the background. Can I afford this? Should I spend that? What if something unexpected happens? That mental activity is exhausting, and it crowds out other thinking. This is why Barbara, even with a $340 monthly surplus, cannot seem to enjoy her retirement. Her brain is still running the scarcity program, even though the financial pressure that triggered it may have passed. And I want to say something clearly here. This is not weakness. This is not poor discipline. This is a very human response to years of real financial pressure. A lot of people spent decades working hard, watching every dollar, making sacrifices. That kind of vigilance does not just turn off because the paycheck changes. But here is the important thing. Because this is a psychological pattern, not a math problem, it responds to psychological solutions. And the most effective one is something researchers call an income floor. Let me explain what that is, and then I'm going to show you the exact number. Part 3. The income floor. The income floor is a simple concept, but most people in retirement have never actually calculated it. Here's the idea. Your income floor is the minimum monthly income you need to cover every essential expense without touching your savings and without any financial stress. Not luxuries, not extras, just the number that covers everything you have to pay. Rent or mortgage, utilities, food, insurance, medications, transportation. That is your floor. On screen, your income floor equals essential monthly expenses only. Now, here's why this number matters so much. When your guaranteed income, your Social Security, any pension, any other fixed income, equals or exceeds your income floor, something shifts psychologically. Your brain stops running the scarcity program because it now has evidence, real concrete evidence that the essentials are covered, no matter what. The uncertainty that drives the anxiety goes away. Not completely, in most cases, but significantly. Let me show you what this looks like with a real example. Take someone named James. He's 71, lives in Tennessee, recently widowed. His Social Security is $2,050 a month. He was convinced it was not enough. When James listed his essential monthly expenses, rent, utilities, food, Medicare premium, one prescription, the total came to $1,820. His guaranteed income, $2,050, was $230 above his income floor. James did not have a money problem. He had never done this calculation before. He had been living with the anxiety of uncertainty when the certainty was already there. I am not saying $230 above your floor is a lot of room. It is not. James still needs to be careful, but there is a psychological difference between I'm not sure if I can cover my bills and I know my bills are covered, I have $230 left over. That difference, that certainty, is what the income floor calculation gives you. Now let me show you a second example, because not everyone's situation looks like James. Take someone named Patricia. She's 67, lives in Ohio, recently retired. Her Social Security is $1,650 a month. When she listed her essential expenses, they came to $2,100. Patricia's income floor is $450 above her guaranteed income. And I want to acknowledge, that is a real gap. That is not just anxiety. That is a math problem that deserves a real solution. For Patricia, the income floor calculation is equally valuable because now she knows exactly what she is working with. She knows the gap is $450. She can look at specific options, whether that's a part-time income, a drawdown strategy from savings, or looking at whether delaying Social Security longer was an option. She knows what she is solving for. Uncertainty is replaced by clarity, and clarity is always better than anxiety, even when the number is not what you hoped. Part 4. The third thing. The third thing. I told you at the beginning that most people never calculate this one, and I meant it. In all the conversations I have with people about retirement, this is the one that comes up least and matters most for how you actually feel day to day. It is this: your permission number. Your permission number is the amount of money above your income floor, your surplus, that you are allowed to spend on things that bring you genuine enjoyment, without guilt, without second guessing, without feeling like you are being irresponsible. For James, that number was $230 a month. That is his permission budget. Not a lot, but it is real money that exists specifically to be enjoyed. For Barbara from earlier, with her $340 monthly surplus, that is her permission number, $340 a month that she is not spending, not because she can't afford it, but because no one ever told her it was safe to spend it. Here's what the research actually shows. Retirees who consciously designate a specific amount each month as a permission budget, money they have decided in advance is safe to spend, report significantly lower financial anxiety than those who do not because they have more money, but because they have made a decision in advance. The decision removes the in-the-moment guilt. You don't have to weigh whether this coffee or that day trip is justified. It already is. You decided. Take someone named Carol. She is 74, lives in Georgia. Her Social Security is $2,200 a month. Her essential expenses are $1,700. Her surplus is $500. For the first 3 years of retirement, Carol spent almost none of that $500. She felt she should save it, in case. When Carol finally sat down and designated $300 of that $500 as her monthly permission budget, money she had decided in advance was for enjoyment, she described the experience as feeling like she had received a pay raise. Same income, same expenses, different decision. That is the permission number, and it is the simplest thing I'm going to tell you today. But for a lot of people, it is the one that makes the most immediate difference in how retirement actually feels. So, let me bring this together. The feeling that your Social Security is not enough, that feeling is real and it deserves to be taken seriously. But for many retirees, it is not telling you what you think it is telling you. It is not always a signal that you need more money. Sometimes it is a signal that you need more clarity. 3 things to take from today. Calculate your income floor, list your essential monthly expenses and compare them to your guaranteed income. That number, that gap or surplus, is the most honest picture of where you actually stand. Give yourself a permission number. If you have a surplus above your floor, designate a portion of it in advance as money that is safe to enjoy. Write it down. Make the decision once so you do not have to make it again every time you want to buy something. And understand that the anxiety you feel may not be a math problem. It may be a habit, a pattern your brain learned over a long time. Recognizing it for what it is does not make it disappear immediately, but it does change how you relate to it. You have more options than you think, and you deserve to feel that way. Before you go, I have a question for you. Have you ever calculated your income floor? Do you know what your essential monthly number actually is? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely read every single one, and your answers help me know what to cover next on this channel. If this video gave you something useful, please share it with someone you know who is in or near retirement. A lot of people are carrying this feeling quietly and have never heard it explained this way. And if you are not subscribed yet, I would love to have you here. New videos go up every week, all focused on making the retirement system clear and simple. Thank you for spending this time with me. I will see you in the next video.